Also new right now, President Biden unveiling executive action on gun control. It's his first major move on the issue since taking office. Ariel Placencia has been following this story and has the very latest. Ariel?
Yeah, hey there, Shashara. So we are expecting the president to announce 6 executive orders regarding guns. About 5 minutes ago, the vice president came out to the podium, introduced the president, who has now been speaking for the past couple of minutes. And producers, if possible, let's go take that live. Sounds like we're having some technical difficulties, but we do know that, again, as I mentioned, 6 executive orders, and we will have that on our website where you can listen there, but we already do have an idea of what he was going to be talking about today. Those orders, they were going to include asking the Justice Department to crack down on so-called ghost guns, and those are firearms assembled with a 3D printer from parts purchased online. They do not have serial numbers, they are difficult to track, and they are unregulated. Now, the president is also expected to call for investments in community violence intervention programs. Also, a new annual report on firearms trafficking, which hasn't been compiled since 2000. And he'll encourage states to adopt red flag laws, which allow police or family members to petition courts to temporarily remove guns from people in crisis. Now, according to ABC News, there is nothing related to assault rifles in these actions, and there will be no legislative proposal from Biden. However, senior administration officials stress that these are the only initial actions, leaving room for more to come down the road. Now, just 2 weeks ago, the president called for tougher gun control laws and to ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines when he addressed the nation after the mass shooting at a supermarket in Boulder, Colorado. The suspect killed 10 people, including a police officer. Now, again, the president is speaking right now. I can see on my little monitor of the pool cam feed, he is at a podium right outside the White House. We do have this stream over on our website. We apologize for the audio issues here, but you'll be able to catch that. And then we'll also have the latest and highlights coming up tonight at 4.